Welcome back to Small College Conversations. I'm Kristen Eargle with College.town. And today I'm joined by Brock Anundson, the Director of Athletics for Alaska Nanooks. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yes, you have a ton of momentum going on right now. I want to just kind of pick your brain a little bit and kind of peel it back. You've been there for what, 5 years now? I think you're in year 5. Is that right?
That's right.
And
Yeah, halfway through year
think through
5.
some of those things that when you look at it now, what be some of the key decisions earlier on that are really paying off?
I think a lot of the key decisions that we made from the get-go was just finding the right people, building culture, and making sure that we had a consistent process for the entire department. Again, we had a long history of great competition within our programs, whether it's from hockey to ski to swim to basketball, volleyball, and I think just getting everybody on the same page and ensuring that everybody had the right principles and guidelines to base their programs on was really important, and we kind of gained momentum through each year, and now you're starting to see and have seen just the success on and off the court. So it's been great. It's been a good first couple of years.
Now, obviously, geography has a lot to do with your job at all times. Let's think about it. I mean, it's not as easy as some of the other Division II that are just right there within driving distance. So some of the travel partnerships and scheduling alliances, how do you lean on your conference and maybe some other ways that you work through some of the logistical realities of the competition in Alaska?
Yeah, we've been really fortunate to have great partners locally to help us with anything from hotel arrangements to experiences for our visiting teams and fans and guests, to just great sponsors who help kind of limit the financial burdens, whether it's for our own teams or for traveling, visiting teams and families. We've got a great sponsor in Alaska Airlines who allow us to travel quite freely across not just the continental United States, but of course across the globes for a lot of our international students. And they've been able to provide a lot of discounted fares or whether it's help with baggage and just shipping things where we need them to be, because of course we don't drive anywhere, we fly everywhere we go, whether that's a trip south to Anchorage or a trip across the country to New York. We're always on the move, and they've been a great partner, and having them kind of hooked up a little bit with some of their regional partners allow us to really explore the area. Because when you think of Alaska, of course you think, man, it's hard to get to, it's a long ways away. But once you're here, and especially I can attest to this in my first year, it's really just one extra flight, and it's not that big a deal. And once you get teams here and they understand that you're near but far, it really provides a well-rounded approach, and all of our sponsors kind of bleed into each other. So we cross-pollinate and create some hotel and airline partnerships where they typically only see that during tourism season, which is winter and summer. But when you talk about cruise ships coming in or people who want to come up and see the northern lights or do some dog mushing, we blend it in with our student experience and get people on campus through a lot of our partnerships we create.
Now, staying in that vein, let's talk about travel. Everyone talked about when conference realigned how much it was a disadvantage with student athletes. How have you used that to your advantage and kept that holistic student athlete model in mind as you think about all this traveling you're doing?
Yeah, I think that's been the creative mix that we've had, just unbelievable partnerships with our cross-campus departments, whether it's engineering or business or anyone on the academic side. Our faculty and staff here are wonderful in their flexibility to allow our student athletes to have test proctors and proctor exams. Our faculty athletic representative is one of my favorites that I've ever worked with, and she's great in meeting with the student athletes when they're here, and of course connecting with them, whether it's via Zoom or any other means. They connect very well to ensure that the student athletes may miss an extra day or two of class, but they're not going to miss any content. Of course, the university does a great job of using the right online techniques to ensure that any exams are obviously private, confidential, and are monitored the appropriate way. And of course, when we have any challenges that come up, it's a quick meeting. We're a big school, but we're a small school, so we're allowed to reach across the aisle and ensure that we have the right meetings and connect when there is any disconnect. In the ever expanding realm of AI and different things, and us trying to combat those, I think that we've got the right people in place at the university, and thankfully I don't have to work too hard with them. That they beat me to the punch a lot when we have issues, and they can hit them head on. And we usually see a lot of success through those partnerships across campus.
Definitely sounds like a collaborative effort there. Obviously in Division II and other conferences as well, and other divisions as well, the resources obviously is something that can be an obstacle. What kind of ways have you looked at things in terms of budgeting, obviously, and maybe some revenue generating strategies that you really see are working right now?
Yeah, I think that budgets are doesn't matter if you've got a lot of backers or a lot of support from the state or your boosters or not. It's always a challenge. I think you can never, if you've got a hole, you can always fill it with something, right? And so we really try to utilize our local community to help boost some special initiatives that may help a local middle school or high school or elementary. But when it comes to being creative, our coaches are really good. Like I mentioned before with Alaska Airlines, they allow us to really stretch our dollars further by providing free bags in our sponsorships and our partnerships. And of course, our student athletes take advantage of all the mileage they get, so they can get different class tickets, and of course find a different student experience. But I think the main thing that we lean on is our external relations athletic director. She's great at building partnerships locally and regionally and across the nation. And when we find those win-win situations to where we can provide a great experience, great exposure geographically across the world, we also find ways to invite them into events, whether it's a fundraising event where we can use them and they can have an experience in a game, to where we find these trade-offs where it's maybe not always a financial exchange, and it's an experience exchange, and that in turn benefits the student athletes because it's providing to that intangible student athlete experience.
Let's talk about your conference a little bit. The GNAC partnered with Hudl to move games behind a paywall. How has that been the last couple of months? What's been the reaction to that?
Oh, I think that's been great. I know a lot of colleagues that have used Hudl in different conferences around the country and the NCAA, and I know that they've had good experiences. There's always that kind of growing pain of our original GNAC venture. This predates me. Was our expansive territory. We wanted to provide a free experience for everyone to watch their teams, being that it was more difficult to challenge to them or to travel to them. And I think this is kind of just aligning ourselves with what the kind of norm is across the country. I know there's very few that don't use this at the Division II level now. So kind of aligning ourselves with our colleagues regionally and nationally has been more of an expectation. It allows us to still provide a consistent process for families and friends and season ticket holders to watch games when they're not on location. And it also allows you to bring in, a little extra revenue. It's not a dramatic shift in cost as compared to maybe an other streaming service, but it allows you to bring in just a little bit more revenue for your student athletes and put it into their programs to allow them to do things like you said, like travel, do things operationally, provided maybe a better camera angle. We add a couple of requirements to make sure that we have more than just a static camera watching a game. This gives you a little better experience, and maybe down the road, it's how do we use this revenue coming in to provide better commentary, better color, better graphics, better camera work on activities that maybe happen during a halftime. So I think that the viewership we've found through just the analytics we've had in a short time has shown that we've had the same viewership or more. It allows us to track it a little closer rather than just seeing view clicks. We can kind of connect more demographics and who's watching, where they're watching, how they're watching, so that we can bring the game better to them every game that ensues after that. So it's been a good partnership so far. And The GNAC's been great with it. Our institutions across the GNAC have been great in kind of cross-pollinating and finding out what's worked for which school and what others can do. And it's just that idea generation. No one's necessarily reinventing the wheel, but we're just making that wheel a lot better as we go.
You're a multi-divisional institution with offering Division I hockey. Talk me through that a little bit, and then how you weigh supporting financially at the different with your different sports, especially with hockey playing D1.
Yeah, for sure. That's been probably the most enjoyable part for me. I love Division I sports. I love Division II sports. Getting to really experience both of them, especially when we have other sports who compete in maybe a multi-divisional conference, has been really fun. But you're right, there are different rules for different divisions. So working with those have been very good. Trying to keep that separation between Division I and Division II is important because both hold different values. But I think our coaches understand we as a department want to create a consistent process for them to work through, whether that's through NIL stuff or compliance and making sure that everybody is doing things the right way. But when it comes to just the financial implications, the Division I landscape for us is a little different, but our travel for both Division I and Division II are virtually the same. Mm-hmm. So we treat everyone the same. But with hockey being Division I, of course, there's a little bit more we put into it with resources because it's just that's not necessarily the requirement, but that's the demand. Yeah, and I think the main thing is that we really like to listen to what our fans and our boosters want for our Division I hockey program, and bring that to them, whether that is in-game entertainment, box suite service, ticketing processes, better social media, more videos, more interviews. And we meet them kind of head on with those things. Locally, people are, again, they view us as a big school that's small, and a small school that's big. So we're able to kind of get that outreach sooner and closer, and we allow them to kind of come into our space and provide feedback and make the adjustments as needed. But I think if you experienced a Division I event here versus a Division II event, the only thing that's different is the size of the arena. I think the product on the court or on the ice is very similar in nature because we want to make sure that the student athlete experience and the fan experience are at the height of what they can be. So when it comes to just the financial implications, you got to spend a little more on one, but when it comes to balance, we're balanced across both.
One thing we haven't brought up yet is coaching. So talk me through kind of how you mentor your coaches and navigate things with them, especially just the leadership growth that you've had there and just keeping program consistency. What's been your philosophy on that?
Yeah, I will say this. I've been very lucky. We've had some fantastic coaches over the years that I've been here. You'll maybe hear me say this more than once, but if you surround yourself with good coaches, obviously you're going to get good product. And our coaches have really embraced the culture. I think one of the things as far as a mentor, as far as instilling the right way to do things is just building a consistent culture. Everyone's really bought into the culture that we're going to support each other, whether you're Division I or Division II or multi-divisional. Everyone comes out to everyone's games, and everyone supports us through our fundraising efforts and our booster efforts and our community outreach. It's an all hands on deck effort. And I think once you see them all in action, no one is above anyone else. And I feel like that helps the student athletes support the other student athletes. Some of our biggest cheering sections are other sports, just participating in other teams' events. And that could be working the stat table, or that could be just sitting in the student section, getting everybody riled up. So when it comes to coaches, they're really good now at blending that into the student athletes that they recruit. They want to find not just the best student athletes in that sport, but the best human beings in that student athlete. They bring across so many great, talented student athletes that are great in the classroom, high achievers academically. We've been lucky enough to have, I believe over the last 4 years, our kind of cumulative team GPA average has been around 3.5. So as a pretty high achieving department in that category, It kind of bleeds into what you do outreach wise. The coaches have less to worry about. They can coach more their sport and not worry quite as much about the academic side, and allow their student athletes to really take control of their programs, and their captains and their upperclassmen can really lead their teams and allow them to really expand on that. And of course, good coaches recruit good people, and good student athletes, invite more good student athletes in, and then that builds on top of each other. And really every year, and I'll use our volleyball team as the most recent example. Coach Scott has been great at finding great players across the country, and across the globe. And every year, he continues to build on that premier image that this team is really good. This team is full of great student athletes. And if he can get them here to meet the team and see the product, and not just watch it on an online stream, he knows that he can get them to stay here. And I think that's what mentoring the student athletes, and for me to mentor the coaches, is to say, hey, build on what you've already started, be confident in it, and more will come. It's kind of the if you build it, they will come model. And I think the coaches have all embraced it.
Let's talk a little bit broader scope in terms of your strategic plan. Walk me through a little bit of that and where you are kind of looking to the next 5 years.
Yeah, I think strategically we want to position ourselves as a premier Division II, and of course premier Division I hockey school. There are certain sports that we have been stronger historically in, and now building a balance, keeping those sports strong and programs healthy, while also lifting others up. So within our strategic plan, we focus a lot on three different things, and of course that's knowledge building, resource development, ensuring that we have what we need to sustain, retain, and grow. Another piece of that is relationship building. We want to build relationships with our campus, our community, and the country, and make sure that we're branded right. And of course, we want to just continue to grow. As we get into the next, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in the changing landscape of the NCAA, we want to be able to adapt, and we want to be able to be ready. We're currently in the stage of being proactive and trying to work ahead of what we can, instead of being reactive. So that way, when things come up, we can meet them head on, and our coaches are prepared, our admin are prepared, and our upper leadership are aware of what we need to be successful. And I think the best part of that is just that we have support from the top down. And that's part of the culture that I think we've built. That's the culture of the UAF campus. And the state of Alaska has really embraced that. It's one of the things I've really loved about being here. So as we build out our next 3-year strategic plan and look to try to fully fund as many sports as we can and provide operational finances for them to give the best student athlete experience possible, it's been easier. We've been very lucky to have great people around. So it's one of those things where it's TBD, but it's in a great spot.
When you look at, you talked about the changes in college athletics, obviously in Division II. What are some things that stand out to you as kind of some challenges out there? What ways you're kind of thinking that you're going to take some of this on?
Yeah, I mean, the challenges are, I don't think any university has, especially at our level, has, an open checkbook that you can just go.
Right.
So we certainly have to play our cards right and be smart. We of course, as a small school, you're always feeling like you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. But if you can make both Peter and Paul happy and ensure that they have a spot at the table and they're represented well, and they feel like they've got a good connection to your department and your student athletes and your programs, it's a win-win. So what we're trying to do is build our connections with the NCAA so that we can work ahead. We've got a great compliance director who keeps us in tune with things. Like I said, we've got a great marketing team. Our external director is great. Our sports information department keeps getting stronger and more experienced. And our coaches are more and more in tune. Keeping everybody well resourced and well educated is the big piece. We do that monthly in all staff meetings. And we, of course, send out as many updates as possible to just keep everybody healthy and educated. And if there's anything, we're big but small, so that anyone could ask any question. And we try to make sure that we use the I'll find out model rather than the I don't know and we'll see. Everybody is empowered to research and provide education, regardless if you're one sport or another or one department or another.
Final question for you. You've served in multiple roles within college athletics. You grew up in northern Minnesota, right? And now in Alaska.
Correct,
And you think about how your leadership roles and your leadership philosophy has changed throughout the years. What would you say has been the biggest difference, and what kind of advice do you give younger professionals going along right now?
That's a great question. I think that my biggest learning curve and piece of knowledge that I've built from great colleagues of mine, great supervisors, other athletic directors, and some commissioners that I know is just to never stop learning. I think never. A lot of people say don't say no to things, experience everything. I think there is some boundaries you need to set, because it's hard to say no to everything, but it's also hard to say yes to everything. But I think as long as you keep educating yourself, being grounded, being humble in your approach, and never being the smartest person in the room, that's really important, because I think if you can continue to learn in the ever-changing landscape of NCAA athletics, there is nothing that will happen that will surprise you. I think that you'll have good context, you'll be resourced, always reach out and learn from those around you, because people have different experiences. People come from different backgrounds. It doesn't matter where you grew up, what degree you have or what position you held. It's a collaborative environment. I think that's what NCAA athletics is all about, right? It's a team environment. And if you can instill that in yourself, I think that'll bleed to everyone else. And that's what's really helped me build culture.
I love this. Great advice. Thank you so much, Brock, for your time. Continued success.
Appreciate it.